Welcome back, everybody. It's time to learn some Hardanger. I just want to clear up one thing, a little bit of housekeeping before we get started, is for those of you who have emailed me in order to get the folder that I have shared that has the information in it and the chart. I hope I have responded to everybody, but my email has been just a little bit wonky here of late. So if I have not, you can either send me another email, or what I'm going to try to do is down in the description of this video, I'm going to try and link that shared folder in my Dropbox so that all you have to do is go there and get it directly. So I hope I can do that, and I hope it works. So and that is too for any future people that watch this video. The link will already be there that you can get the material and work at your own pace through these videos. So with that being said, we have two other things that we need to talk about before we start stitching. And one of them is, how do you read a chart? We're used to reading our charts for cross stitch that each square is a stitch, okay? And depending on whether you're stitching over one or over two, that's exactly what that graph represents. It's either the one thread, or if you're stitching, say, one strand of floss over two threads of fabric, then each of those little boxes stand for two threads of your fabric. And Hardanger is the same way, actually. Graphs can be written in two different ways. First of all, you could just get a photograph. I remember years ago when I first got the Nordic needle books, that's all they were, was a photograph of the piece that they were putting in there to be stitched, and you worked off that photograph, which, once you know the basics, it really is not hard to do, and really that is all you need. You will find graphs in books in two different ways. One of the ways is like this, where each block, as in cross stitch, represents two threads of fabric. So what this is telling you is each satin stitch, let me try, and here we go, and these are your Kloster blocks here. Each one of those is comprised of 5 satin stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over 4 threads of fabric. Okay, so this is one way. This on the outside here is a buttonhole stitch, and we're not going to get into that today, but that will be one of the future videos to learn how to do that. They're made up the same way. 5 stitches over 4 threads of fabric, and then we'll learn how to round this corner here. So that's one way you're going to see graphs. Another way you're going to see them, and I hope this kind of comes out clear enough here, is the way Janice puts them in her book. And she's actually representing each thread of the fabric along with the 5 Kloster blocks. So you can see the difference. The satin stitch here goes from here to here, and if you count, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 threads of fabric, and it's 5 satin stitches. So those are the two ways basically that most charts are written. A lot of books that are instructional are going to show it this way because it's easier to read for instruction purposes and to show you exactly where your needle goes and where not to put your needle. So that's what you're going to see in most instruction books. In most books that are just patterns, you're probably going to find it more this way because it takes less space to chart it in this manner than it does in the other method. So that's how you read a chart. Now, you're all probably wondering, okay, I got a chart or I have the picture, but how do I know how big my fabric is supposed to be? Because on a lot of these, they're not going to give you dimensions, because the dimensions of your design are totally dependent upon what fabric you're going to use. So, I mean, here's an example. Let me find a page here of a chart. Now, this one Janice does, but here's a chart in one of her books, and she does list the materials and say, let me see it here, okay, that this is what the design size is. However, as I said, in the first Nordic needle books that I got, it didn't tell you anything. It really didn't tell you how big it was going to be on any fabric, you know, because maybe somebody's stitching that on 22 count Hardanger fabric, like we're going to learn on. Maybe somebody, as I did, I stitched a lot of my pieces, and this one that you see in the background here was done on 32 count Lugana. So therefore the size is going to be different. So what you're going to do in order to determine size, and we're going to use our chart here today, and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Well, I'm going to try to anyway, so that you can see the whole thing here. Or, well, can't go any smaller than that. Okay, what we're going to do is count the Kloster Blocks top to bottom, side to side. So if you have a runner that's really long and you don't know the size, you count the number of Kloster Blocks in the width and the number in the height. Okay, so in this particular one, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now, this is going to be square, so the length and the width are the same. 15 Kloster Blocks, okay? Now, we're going to do a buttonhole edge, so we're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4 more, because this is a set of 4 threads, this is a set of 4 threads, this is, and this is. So we're going to add 4 more sets of 4 threads for a total of 19 blocks in the width and in the height. We know that all the basis of Hardanger is comprised of 5 stitches over 4 fabric threads. So we're going to take those 19 blocks and multiply them by 4 threads. So that's going to give us a total. To do this design, we're going to need a total of 76 threads horizontally and vertically. Okay, that tells us that. Now, do we really want to sit and count? Say it's a 376. No, you don't want to count that. So what you're going to do is take, just like in cross stitch, you need 76 threads of fabric to complete this design. We're going to do it on 22 count Hardanger fabric. So we're going to divide 76 by 22, and that's going to tell us that our design area is 3.45 inches. What I do is just round that up to 3.5. Okay, that's the design area. That is from the edge of each buttonhole stitch to the edge of each buttonhole stitch. Now, the nice thing in Hardanger is you can put 3 inches on each side, depending on what you want to do with your finished piece. However, you don't have to, because anything excess outside, so pretend all of this is your fabric, Okay, all of this, when we're done, is going to get cut away, and you're just going to be left with this right here. Okay, so anything out here is excess. If you're going to want to use a hoop, sure, leave a little bit more so that you can get a hoop on there and stitch comfortably. Now, if you use a hoop, that's fine. However, don't put that fabric in your hoop tight. Leave it loose, because the way I teach you is a sewing method, and I find, in all honesty, that works the best for me. That's easiest, and I do not use a hoop for the basic Kloster Blocks. I only use a hoop when it comes to needle weaving so that I can keep my threads straight. Okay, so with that, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Let's get started. We're going to get into stitching. Okay, keep our graph handy. You're going to need your size 5 pearl cotton. You're going to need your piece of fabric and a needle. I'm going to zoom this a bit closer so that you're going to be able to see. And pardon my fabric, I had started something on here and changed my mind. So you're going to see some holes in there, but I'm going to try and keep away from that and go on the other side here so that you can see. Hopefully I'm going to be able to do this, that you are seeing it well. I'm kind of stitching with the camera or my phone actually, between me and the fabric, but we're going to give this a good go, and hopefully you're all going to get the idea and come away from here with, aha, I know how to do that. Pardon me, needed a little drink. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is get some size 5 pearl cotton here. So when you take the labels off, you can, the skein, you can untwist this. If you bought the balls, all you do is pull off a length of thread. But if you have the skein, what I do is I unravel the skein so that it's like this. Okay, loop up here, the end down here with the knot in it. Okay, let me reach for a pair of scissors here. Now, this is a nice size length for when you open up the skein. This is a very nice size length for what each of your lengths should be. You use this just as it comes off the skein or off the ball. So the easiest thing to do is wherever that knot is, just cut through the whole thing. Okay? And get rid of this silly knot, because we don't want that. Okay? So that's going to give you a piece that's probably in the neighborhood of a yard long. Okay? For me, that's what I work with. That's what I prefer to work with. So what you're going to do is, here we go. Just take a hold of an end and pull, just like you would take it off a skein of floss. Now, what I do to keep it from getting a mess is just loop it on itself. Okay, don't pull it tight, and that's going to be easy enough to get out when we need another strand. Okay, if you're using a ball, what I'm going to do is show you this, and as I said, whichever you got was fine. But if you look at your ball, it has this little loop here, and it also has a little string here. If you just pull that, it will start to unravel. No fuss, no muss, easy peasy. Okay, we're not going to use this until we get down to eyelets, and needle weaving. So my number 8 is on the ball, okay, and my size 5 was on the skein. Okay, now first thing we're going to do is you have your square of fabric, and if I remember right, I had told you 8 by 8. We need to find the center. Okay, first fold it in half. Okay, so that it's folded in half, and then fold it in half once again. Okay, so you have a square that's I was going to say 3 inches by 3 inches, but it's somewhere close to there. What you want to do is crease the center with your fingers. Okay, so that when you open it back up, you can tell, there it is, where the center is. Okay, now what some people do, and if you're doing a larger piece, I recommend this. They'll take a piece of sewing thread or a sulky sliver or something, and they will run basting lines from the center up and down and then across, and they will be reference points. However, this is a smaller piece, so I really don't bother with that at this point in time, but it is certainly something that you can do if you so choose, especially if you're working on a bigger piece. The next thing you want to do, of course, is get your needle threaded. All right, so I'm going to show you the same technique I use with my cross stitch thread is really what I use with this. I lay it across my finger. Okay, I take the eye of the needle, lay it on top, push up, pull the loop through. Okay, do it again for you. Lay it across your finger, take the eye of the needle, push up, pull the loop through. Life changing. Have never in 30 years used a needle threader or licked floss, and have always been able to thread a needle. I love this way. Piece of cake. Might take a little bit. I don't know if some of you saw that video where they lay the thread across their hand, and then I never tried it with pearl cotton, to tell you the truth, and actually I never tried it with anything, but they lay this across their hand, something like this, and they take the eye and they rub it back and forth, and personally I can't do that. However, I saw that on Facebook somewhere. This way is much easier. Lay it across your finger, push up, grab the loop, oh, there. And sometimes it doesn't come through quite as much as others, so you just kind of fiddle with it a little bit, grab the loop, pull it through. Okay? All right. Next step is hold that piece of fabric in your hand. We know where that center mark is. And does it have to be perfectly center? No, because I gave you enough excess fabric, just so you're close. So the first part we're going to do, and let me color them in a little bit for you here, just so you can see. These stitches here in pink is the first set of Kloster blocks that we're going to do. Okay? Should have done this ahead of time. Wasn't thinking. I'm an off-the-cuff person. You'll find I do better when we just, there we go. When really I just wing it. I know in my head what I want to cover, and I'm really a wing person when it comes to that. So we're going to do this set of 4 cloister blocks that are going to form the middle of our piece. Okay, so from that center, because we also know that this eyelet is going to be 4 threads because everything is based on 4 threads of fabric, we're going to count up half of this 4, so that's 2, and 4 is 6 threads from the center. So with that, make sure I'm in your frame here. Here's my center. Now it's easy to mark on here. We're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now, because we want to keep it centered, we're going to go over 1, 2. Okay. So that hole right there is going to be our starting point. Now, because of the way we do Hardanger, I'm not going to stitch over this thread. All right, like you do in cross stitch. I'm not going to stitch over it. I'm going to finish it later when I come back to this point again. Okay. Your threads always go with the flow of your stitching. So, and you'll understand a little bit more what I mean. So we're going to go over here somewhere and go down through the fabric so that we can leave a tail. Okay. Doesn't have to be a long tail because it's going to go underneath, and then we're going to come up where we marked that stitch 2 stitches over. Okay. Let me turn this light on just to, does that give us a little more light? Now that's kind of worse, isn't it? Okay. We're just going to go with this. Okay. Where am I here? There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. So we're going to pull our needle up. Okay. We're going to let that away tail. Okay, so you can see it running underneath. Now, as I said, 4 stitches or 5 satin stitches over 4 threads of fabric. Now, a lot of books are going to teach you to start at the bottom and work up. I find it more comfortable to work towards me. So, that being said, I'm going to count down 4 fabric threads. 1, 2, 3, 4. Insert my needle and come up in the hole next to where I went down. Okay? And pull your thread through. That is cloister block or satin stitch number 1. We're going to do that 5 more times. So that's 1, 2, and that tail is going to get in your way, just it always does. 3, another trick to keep your stitches nice, I always find when I pull, it's just a habit, I stick my thumb over it. It helps to keep things straight and tensions even. So this is number 4. Okay. Now, the 5th one, as you see on our pattern here, they go right in a circle. Okay. So the 5th one, we're going to go down here, but we're going to come up over here. Okay. Which is going to be like this. Go down here and count 1, 2, 3, I'm watching in my phone and doing this. Here we go, 4. Okay, so you see we have 4 threads on our needle. This will complete satin stitch number 5 and start satin stitch number 1. Okay? So there you go. So now we're going to repeat that now. We're going to do 5 stitches over those 4 threads. So there's finishing 1, finishing 2, oh, do you see what I just did? I missed the hole. Okay, so just pull that puppy back out. See, even when you've been doing it for a lot of years, you make mistakes. Okay, rethread and go back here. There we go. Three, 4, 5. Now, this is going to complete 5. Okay, what you're going to do is turn your fabric 1/4 turn, and then do the same thing. Count your 4 threads over. 1. That completes 5. Starts 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then your corners get caught. 3, 4, 5. Turn it again so that this one you just completed is on top. Repeat it one more time. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's 2. Sorry. 3, 4, 5. Now, on this 5th one, this is going to share the same hole as the first one of that first cloister block. And that's going to complete those center 4 stitches. So you're going to pull your needle through, flip it over, go to the back, not bump your camera. Okay. Now, we can tell this is our first cloister block because it has the string. So what we want to do is continue with the direction that we were going. So to end that thread, we need to do what they call lock it. So we're going to go under this cloister block like this. We're going to turn it and go under this block like this. Okay. We're going to go over the first thread and come back, or the first and second thread, We'll just go over enough so that it doesn't come undone, okay? You're going to go back through it, okay? You're going to do the same thing, go over one or two, go back through it, okay? And then go under another one. And if you want to be really secure, go ahead, go under one more. It's okay. And then trim your thread. Okay, trim it close. Now, what do you do with this thread? The same thing you just did. Okay, rethread your needle with that tail. Okay, this one we're going to go in the opposite direction. So we're going to go under this one. Okay, we're going to go under this one. We're going to go over, come back, do the same thing again, over, come back, and then go under this one. And cut off our thread. Now, do not worry. This will not come undone. This piece here that I'm using as a background for working. Here's the back side. Okay, so you can see all the places that I've gone under, ran threads through, locked them in. You can kind of see all of that throughout the piece. Well, let me tell you, I made this piece probably 20 to 25 years ago. Okay? It has been washed, hand washed, mind you, many, many times. It's not coming undone. It gets used all the time. It's on one of my tables all the time. It doesn't come apart, folks. Trust me. 20 to 25 years old this piece is. Washed many, many times. As long as you lock them like we did, it will not come undone. Okay, now we want to thread our needle again, and I'm going to continue with the same piece that I had. So now what we have to do is get up there to that next set of Kloster Blocks. Okay, so as you can see on our chart, we have some area that's going to be open in between here. So we need to get all the way up to here. Okay, so this is 4 stitches. This is 4 threads. This is 4 threads. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we want to get up to here. So that's 6. So that would be 24 fabric threads. So from this point right here to this point right here, we're going to count up 24 threads. Start the same way as we did before. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sometimes I have to move. 8, 9, 10. I'm going to put a little mark there just to make counting a little easier. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay? Might want to double check it just in case. But what I'm going to do is put my away thread, bring my needle up here. Now, this is where it gets, where I said you can't fudge anything. You need to be perfect. So that stitch needs to start at the exact same place this stitch did. So this and this must line up. What will happen is when we get to cutting, you're going to cut along here and you're going to cut along here to make this area open. If this is not lined up, things aren't going to work out the way that they should. Okay? So we want to double check that it's lined up. Okay? You might want to recount 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because not only will it affect it this way, it will affect it this vertically as well. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So we're good. So again, on a away tail, okay, we're going to do the same thing. Only this time, instead of a small square, we're going to make a bigger square. And we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks on the side. So we're going to do stair steps. So we're going to go like this. Same thing. Count down 4. Insert your needle. Bring it up in the next hole. Okay, I'm trying to keep you in frame here. I hope I'm not getting out of it too much. 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, we turn to start the next block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this time, because we're going to stair step this way, this time we want our block to go vertically, because we have a vertical, a horizontal, so they need to alternate. Now this one needs to be a vertical. So you're going to come up in that same hole again. So I'm using this hole twice, okay? Bring it through. Okay, we now have a shared hole. Now you're going to count down 4 from that hole. 1, 2, 3, 4. Insert it and come up the next space from that hole. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 5. So now this one we're changing directions again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is the 5th one. On that 5th stitch, share the hole. Okay, we're halfway there. This becomes very rhythmic after a while. You get into the rhythm, and then it 1, 2, 3, 4. It's very rhythmic and very calming. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here we want to switch again. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And if they look a little uneven to you, take your needle and do this. Actually, I have to take that out. I think I messed something up here, because it certainly didn't look right. And if you make a mistake, like miss split fabric threads or whatever, you're going to see that relatively quickly. Okay, so let's try this again. Here we go. And I think that's what I did. 2. This Hardanger fabric, it's easy to split that set of 2 threads. 4. So now you see we're at number 5. Okay, and see where it is in respect to your center. Just as a double check, let's follow that line. And yes, it does line up. Okay, so that's another way to double check your things. Are your blocks lining up? So that one's okay. So now we're going to go 5. Now we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, and come up in the 1. Next. I want to get to the top here so that I can show you, but I think I'm going to run out of thread. Okay, 5. Okay, so once again, yep, lines up. Okay, so this is the top one. This is our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is number 8. So 1. This is going to work out perfect to show you the next thing. 2. 3. 4. Okay, there's 5. We no longer want to continue this way. We want to go this way. So now we're going to, okay, we want to go this way. So now what we're going to do is turn it like this so that this is at the top. Okay, now I've run out of thread. So what I'm going to do is pull this to the back, because here's the thing. If you do not have enough thread to complete an entire cloister block, end it and start a new one. You do not want to start a new thread in the middle of a block. It just doesn't look right. So with this tail, I'm now going to pull it up. I'm going to place it in the direction of the journey. Okay, so I'm up here. I'm going to be working down this way. I'm going to put it down here, and this one I'm going to stitch over because I can. And the likelihood that we are going to pierce it and catch it is very good. Okay, what I'm going to do now is get a new thread. Okay. And thread my needle with that. All right. I'm going to flip it over to the back. I'm going to go about 4 blocks away. I'm going to pull it under. Pardon me for bumping that. I'm going to pull it under till that tail gets hid. I'm going to go under this one. Okay. And I'm going to go under this one. All right. Now, this is the one I'm going to lock on, do the locking on. So I'm going to go over a couple or 1 or 2, pull it back through. Again, go over 1 or 2, pull it back through. Go through this one. Did it again. That's what happens when you have a camera and a goosenecky thing in between you. Okay, so now that thread's ready to go. It's not going anywhere. This one I'm just going to hold behind and catch it. So now, where am I here? Okay, I'm ready to start again. So now I need a horizontal block. So 1, 2, I'm going to count 4 away. I'm going to come up 4 away. Okay. I'm going to share the hole. Come up 1 down. And continue on. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to just hold that thread in the back and work it underneath. And again, no, it isn't going to come out. Feel safe and secure that your piece is not going to fall apart. You are going to probably pierce that thread a number of times that without leaving that long a tail and doing a locking stitch, it's not going to go anywhere. So now here's number 5. I'm going to share the hole because I'm changing direction again. And once again, double check yourself. Yep, they match. Okay, see, share, follow it straight across. Yep, they match. So now you're going to do the same thing down this side. When you get to the 8th one, you're going to turn it again. Go down this side. When you get to number 8, you're going to turn it again and go down this side until you come all the way back here, and then you're going to end your thread the same way as we did in the middle. You're going to take your working piece, work it through these threads, take your tail, work it through the blocks on this side. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for today. I will do another video next week that we'll work on a buttonhole stitch, because that buttonhole stitch has to be done before we do the eyelets. And then the next video after that will be the cutting. Please don't be scared of that. It really is not difficult. And as I said, we'll work on it together. And I will get you through this, and when you're done, you'll have a nice little ornament or whatever you choose to use it for. But you'll have a piece to be able to say, yep, I did that. So until next Tuesday, I'm going to try and post these videos every Tuesday. If something would come up that I could not do that, I will try and let you know ahead of time. If you have questions or I did not explain something well, please leave a comment so that I can touch base with it in the next video, because I will read the comments before I film the next installment in this little series. Okay, so what you're going to do again is, okay, let me zoom. Aha, now we can get the whole thing a bit better. You're going to complete this side, work this side, 8 cloister blocks, work this side. It's probably in between here, it's only going to be 6 because this one and this one will make 7 and 8. Okay, so that you're going to end up with the diamond that we have on the pattern. Okay, all right, and with that, I'll bid you farewell. Geez, we're almost pushing an hour here, so I think that's enough to fill your brains for one day. I'll be back next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we'll do a buttonhole stitch. So with that, my friends, please have a very good stitchy week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. And remember,